Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is November 21st, 2020, and this is episode 133. Today we're going to take a look at EngineWard. This is a Vault comic, and this is issue number 5. The cover is nothing really that special. What we're seeing here is there's a group of baddies that have taken over this planet. They're called the Celestials, and they're based on the different zodiac signs. And I believe this particular one may be Scorpio. I can't really tell. Let's see if there's a little bit more to look at on the back here. It's not really showing anything more. It's just kind of a duplicate. Earth is an ancient myth. Okay, so it is in the future. There's been a number of things that have happened. The planet's pretty much a wasteland, and these Celestials are controlling all the resources of the planet. They're kind of starving out the poor. The poor are living in these ramshackle homes, and there's tribes throughout the wastes, they call it, trying to do different things. Our hero in this is an EngineWard. Her name's Josh, and she has been working with a robot head. She has reactivated. It was discovered in the waste by her friend and I guess her secret love. His name is Ichabod. He's a very muscular dude. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the who worked on this. It's George Mann is the writer. The art is Joe Esma. And I just want to say that I do recommend this comic, but I'm a little disappointed because it's good and it seems like it could be great. Unfortunately, there's a couple things that do bother me about it. One is they drop in profanity here and there, and it seems out of place. It doesn't seem to work with this comic very well. And I guess they're going to continue, despite my protest, I think they're going to continue to do it that way. It doesn't make sense the way they do it. And then the other thing that's a little bit confusing is they have these little boxes in here every once in a while, which is like a side note narration of the history of what's going on. Unfortunately, it's a bit on the flowery side, and you forget about it. You go a couple pages, another one appears, and I don't think they're really in chronological order. Maybe they are, but you kind of forget because you've experienced these other pages. And when I say this is like a good comic and could be great, I compare it to like buying, like, say you bought a Mustang with a V8 in it. You know, it's a good car. It's really good. But if you would have bought the Mustang GT, then you get like the better wheels. You probably get a better tuned suspension, better tuned engine. The interior is probably nicer. The appearance of the outside, the vehicle, the paint job, the stripes, all that's just nicer than just a regular Mustang with a V8. So it makes that experience great compared to driving the Mustang V8, which is a great car too. It's a good car too, but it's not as great as, say, the Mustang GT. So I don't know if my analogy works there or not, but that's how I feel about this comic. It's got like this good bones underneath. It's good bones for a great story, but it's not executed as well as I would hope. I am recommending it, like I said, because I think the story's strong enough, but it just kind of misses its greatness, I think. So Josh and her friend Ichabod and a couple other people, or I think one other and a robot, have wandered off trying to find something called the Oert seed, and they have the robot head in here that got reactivated. It's kind of giving them a guide. Here they're shown with something called the Shade, and the Shade is a group of, this one's from a group of people they're feared, but they've run into this forest after she got chased by a tribe of the Atom, and she's got the Celestials on her tail, and I believe some of the folk from the town are also up in arms over her too, thinking that she has brought on the plague on the city, which it's really been the Celestials all along that have been making life hard for everyone. So here she's speaking through a kind of like a floating robot ball interpreter. The shade is telling her about things about the history of the Earth prior to her existence, and it does flashbacks. It even brings up what she has discovered, so he can understand what's going on as well. And Josh seems to have some kind of power within her that's been unleashed, has been not released, I should say. So I guess we'll see that in coming issues as well. This is her other friend, and again, I don't like the portrayal of this. I see this in so many comics. It's the big black woman man. So it looks kind of like a man in the face and just big all over, big bruiser like a linebacker. And we see it in what was the other one? Big Girls. I see it in Commanders in Crisis, which is an awful comic. Do not buy that one, by the way. Big Girls, I do recommend. So anyway, he's trying to help her out, and here's her friend Josh, who's got some kind of ancient infection now, and he's the only one has it, and it's not contagious, but he's definitely suffering from her. Now, to me, these two kind of seem to have some kind of chemistry between each other, and I really like Ichabod. I think it's a great character. He's underutilized in this story, unfortunately. Um, he could be like a Han Solo type, that strong of a character, but we're not seeing it here. And the robot's pretty fun. That one is he's got a good sense of humor, probably better sense of humor than anybody else in this story. So we get a look at Scorpio here, and the Gemini twins have come to talk to him, wanting help tracking down Josh and Ichabod out in the wastes. And so Scorpio gives them access to some of the tools and weapons necessary to cause havoc. So the Gemini twins get a cart together, and they leave their celestial palace with some of the locals that are also kind of upset about Josh and Ichabod, thinking they've made things worse for them. And we also have, I believe this is Virgo here, so he's telling them to do something, and the Gemini twins are kind of like very evil, but all the zodiac celestials seem kind of evil in this, so it's not a real big deal. As they go through this forest, the shade explains more to Josh about the way things are in the world and the way things were, and Josh catches up with her, and she's happy to see him, and just saying, what are you doing? Why are you talking to the shade? And she says, the shade is helping us. He's protecting us. And then the shade sees that things are changing, kind of tells the history of the town, of the planet a little bit, how the shades all got infected. And I think it's the same infection that's killing Ichabod right now. And he shows what's happening to him. He's getting this horrible rash. He's got a really bad cough, almost like some double pneumonia type thing going on. So he's lost a lot of his strength. He's usually a kind of very strong guy. So moving on, the story's pretty good. Unfortunately for them, in the town, the other Celestials are walking through, trying to find more information, and they're upsetting the city folk and actually killing some of them and just making them back off from any kind of revolt there. And as we go deeper into the woods, Ichabod and Josh discover that they have been discovered by Gemini and the group of the posse that's out there to try to track them down as well. A little bit of a war goes on a little battle between the one group against the Celestials, but the Shade steps up, and he kind of fights them on their own, and allowing Josh and the other group to escape deeper into the woods. Unfortunately, the Shade loses his life, and the twins are kind of even stoked, and they're kind of what's the word for it? Masochistic. no, not masochists, sadists. They like causing pain. All the Celestials seem to like causing pain to all the human folk or anyone else that gets in their way. So here's a copy or a shot of the next issue. And I think that is Virgo there. She'll be on the next one. They seem to be putting a different character on there, a different zodiac character for each issue. So that leads me to believe maybe they'll go 10, 11, 12, 13 issues perhaps. I know Ichabod was on the first issue. He needs a bigger part in this story, in my opinion. And some of these little notations in here need to be removed and maybe put like on a front page so we can get kind of the history of the Earth before the story starts. It's just confusing sticking these in every once in a while. I see one here, then they go another page or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 page. A little history, general history, and then we get this flowery pose twice. So as you can see, it's a little bit distracting trying to read that. Keep 3 stories. Basically, you're keeping 3 stories going at once. But I do think the underlying main story is really good. Those are just a few of the criticisms I can find on this. So it's a little late at night. It's getting close to 11. But I do recommend. So once again, thank you for stopping by the Temple of Tomes. Please subscribe. Please like. Please leave comments. I always appreciate anything you have to say. And we'll see you next time here. And as always, this is Indie Comics Jones bidding you adieu.